The White Lotus starts with a dead body and a mystery, but then forgets about it for most of the season. Instead, we get rich people drama, awkward conversations, and one character who somehow steals the whole show. So, is it worth watching? Let's find out. The White Lotus was supposed to be a murder mystery series. We are promised intrigue among the guests of the White Lotus Hotel, along with the strange things happening to both the guests and hotel staff. Right from the very first episode, in the very first minutes, we see a body being transported onto a plane. And that's it, we see the ending first, and then the story rewinds to show how we got there. Logically, I expected to see what led to this death, to look for suspects, and to make my own guesses. But nothing like that happens until the very end of the season. Instead, we just follow the stories of the guests who, by the way, don't really interact with each other. Each of them has their own drama and their own agenda. I expected something interesting from Alexandra Daddario's character. She's a newlywed on her honeymoon with her rich and troubled husband, but she turned out to be the most plain and boring of them all. At some point, she even reminded me of a little boy who just wants to play with his toys but is forced to live in the adult world. I saw zero connection between her and the plot. Just imagine the series without her, and I'm sure it would still work exactly the same way. Then we have Stifler's mom, Jennifer Coolidge. She arrives at the hotel alone to spread her mother's ashes in the sea. She's the weirdest guest, completely selfish, controlling, and mentally unstable. In the first season, I got a little tired of her slow manner of speaking, like she's always on something. And again, I didn't see how she connected to the plot. But in the second season, she turns out to be the jewel of the show, and honestly, the main reason to watch it. I won't say much more about her to avoid spoilers, so let's move on to the girls. These girls. One of them comes to the hotel with her rich family and invites her best friend Paula to join her, but their friendship is really unhealthy. Paula is the perfect example of someone who believes she is morally superior to others, and for a while she actually convinces people of it. She constantly accuses everyone of being entitled, and you don't even notice her own faults because you're too busy blaming yourself. She meets a native Hawaiian guy working at the White Lotus who tells her that his land was taken to build this very hotel, and now he has to work for its owners. That's a perfect opportunity for Paula to start blaming someone again, this time all the white people staying at the hotel. But here's the thing, Paula herself isn't white, but she's a guest at the hotel and her friend's parents paid for her stay, meaning she's also indirectly supporting this bloody business, but somehow that math doesn't work for her. So she decides to punish the white people who invited her on this trip. This hypocrisy was super annoying, but I think it accurately reflects a certain type of character. It makes you think twice the next time you meet someone who is a little too self-righteous. But what does any of this have to do with a murder mystery? Actually, these social agendas are what fill in all the gaps in both seasons. There are endless discussions about sexism, racism, and patriarchy. I think it's important to explore these topics in movies and series that are actually dedicated to them, or at least ones that take the time to deeply analyze these themes. Maybe they just don't belong in a popcorn show, and these discussions lead nowhere anyway. They are too superficial to actually make an impact. Not everything needs to be educational. The episodes don't have a clear beginning or ending. Sometimes you might be surprised that an episode is already over, or on the contrary, think it's about to end only to realize you're still in the middle of it. I feel like they had a good idea for a movie, but desperately wanted to stretch it into a series, so they just stuffed in everything that came to mind. In the second season, we're in Sicily, at another White Lotus hotel. All the guests are new, except for Stifler's mom. She met a guy in Hawaii, married him, and now he's taken her to Sicily. But he suddenly has to go back to the US, leaving her alone. Well, not completely alone, she also brought an assistant on this romantic trip. Some of her decisions had me questioning things, like why would she go on a yacht with a bunch of men she just met? Okay, they're all gay, but they're still complete strangers. Why does her assistant follow her? Why is everyone so fearless? But anyway, I couldn't predict anything that was going to happen, and the ending completely caught me off guard. That huge plot twist they had planned from the beginning worked amazingly, and that alone is a reason enough to finish the show. The other guests at the Sicilian White Lotus include two couples, and one of the girls is played by Aubrey Plaza. There is just something about this actress, I don't know, she always looks angry to me, it's kind of intimidating. But for this role it actually works. In the beginning, the other three in the group seem like normal people compared to her, but obviously none of them are sane. I was almost convinced they were going to end up at a swinger party. That doesn't happen, but things still get really weird between them. I mostly liked their storyline though. What I appreciated about these two couples is that it reminds us not to judge by first impression. The one who seemed the most troubled at first might actually turn out to be an angel compared to those who seemed perfectly fine. Though I have to say their conversations was so boring. And again, too many social and political issues. It's the kind of discussion where someone just pulls out their phone or changes the subject just to escape the awkwardness. Let me remind you, the plot is supposed to be a murder mystery, and none of these issues have anything to do with what's about to happen. I'm looking forward to the third season of The White Lotus, mostly because the second season's ending intrigued me. But I have to admit the show is pretty mediocre. It's good enough to watch while doing chores, eating, or multitasking, but it doesn't deserve your undivided attention. The visuals are great, though both hotels are in very picturesque locations. And the soundtrack has a cool vibe, so at least you won't get bored. Thanks for watching, and click the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video so you don't miss the next one.